Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, fellow humans, compatriots from across the planet, I am Nikhil Parekh. In this video, I shall be speaking about my book titled Life Equal to Death, Volume 1, Poems on Life, Death, as well as giving you a recitation of different poems from this book of mine. So friends, let me commence with an introduction to this book of mine about the poetry book. This book, which has 50 differently titled poems, is actually volume 1 of the book titled Life Equal to Death, Poems on Life, Death, 1200 pages. This enigmatic collection of poems explores and equates the boundless possibilities of life and death and delves into each intricate inexplicability of survival. Parekh's roving philosophical eye brings the unconquerable richness of life to the fore, and yet at the same time explicitly highlights the veracity of death. Yet at the same time explicitly highlights the veracity of death as the absolute certainty of every existence. The poet joyously celebrates the occasions of both life and death with equal panache in each poetic stanza, sewn with the uncanny mysteries of this universe. The poems within immortalize both life and death as the ultimate victories and the two most contrastingly amazing and divine sides of creation, catapulting the reader to the threshold of ultimate ecstasy. They bring about an impromptu twist with the closure of breath and what lies beyond. This charismatically woven collection of poetic verse would equally enamor the narcissist as well as the simple humanitarian to the core. This book is a humble attempt to enlighten the readers with the equality of life and death and to live in both of them to the unparalleled fullest. Embracing only the religion of humanity as the Lord has commanded every living being on earth. As the Lord has commanded every living being on earth. You can't die in life and can't live in death. Each of these components are irrefutably equal in every respect and should be worshipped with due obeisance. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I shall be giving you a recitation of 4 different poems from this book of mine. These poems are titled as Life Equal to Death. Life is a dedication. Death, the greatest equalizer. And with great power. Of course, at any juncture of victoriously mesmerizing existence, you can purchase this book of mine from Amazon.com. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a recitation of my poem titled Life Equal to Death from this book of mine. Smell each rose that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another rose ever born as pristine, and then feel the unconquerably true fragrance descend perpetually down your senses. Clamber each mountain that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another mountain ever to be born as enchanting, and then feel the inseparably and unflinching spirit of true adventure catapult you beyond the land of eternal paradise. Overtake each impediment that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another impediment ever to be born as perilously demonic. And then feel the unparalleled waves of true satisfaction celestially descend down your innocuous conscience. Admire each sea wave that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another sea wave ever to be born as romantically undulating. And then exult in the true euphoria of tangy newness for times immemorial. Absorb each wind that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another wind, ever to be born as effulgently vivacious. And then feel unfathomable gorges of sensuously true exhilaration impregnably enshroud you from all sides. Flirt each nubile maiden that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another maiden ever to be born as tantalizingly inexplicable. And then feel the triumphantly true beads of voluptuous sweat forever glisten on your blessed flesh. Praise each humanitarian that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another humanitarian ever to be born as symbiotically iridescent. And then feel the spirit of peerlessly true camaraderie wrap you in the cradle of everlasting togetherness. Eat each salubrious fruit that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another fruit ever to be born as scrumptiously divine. And then feel true heavenly contentment beautifully wafted from the walls of your holistic stomach as you slept. Stare each star that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another star ever to be born on spectacularly, as spectacularly opalescent. And then feel truly optimistic enlightenment profoundly cheer up your every dreary night. Dance with each peacock that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another peacock ever to be born as vividly charismatic. And then feel the true beams of unimaginably victorious color paint the obliviously vacant canvas of your despairing life. Sing each rhythm that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another rhythm ever to be born as seductively mellifluous. And then feel the melody of true existence unlimitedly empower you on your every step. Emulate each child that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another child ever to be born as impeccably unhindered. And then feel the true virtue of irrefutably unconquerable honesty perpetuate every cranny of your miserably dying demeanor. Dream each night that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another night ever to be born as wonderfully inebriating. And then feel the true cisterns of rapturously silken titillation. Endlessly drift you towards paradise. Chase each desire that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another desire ever to be born as philanthropically fructifying. And then feel even the most infinitesimally disappearing ingredient of your vastral blood suddenly and truly wanting to live. Embrace each religion that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another religion ever to be born, as blissfully bonding. And then feel the greatest of gods bestow you for your truly unrestricted humanitarian soul. Then feel the greatest of gods bestow you for your truly unrestricted humanitarian soul. Embellish each moment that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another moment ever to be born, as synergistically untainted. And then feel the wings. And then feel the wings of perennial liberation, truly kissing the tyrannically monotonous fangs of your existence. Inhale each breath that you encountered in your life in such a way. Inhale each breath that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another breath, as if there wasn't going to be another breath ever to be born as poignantly omnipotent, ever to be born as poignantly omnipotent. And then feel the oceans of unceasingly majestic artistry truly exude from every pore of your shriveled persona. Truly exude from every pore of your shriveled persona. Love each heartbeat that you encountered in your life in such a way. Love each heartbeat that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another heartbeat ever to be born, as immortally passionate. And then feel like the most pricelessly blessed and truly procreating organism alive for an infinite more lifetimes. And lead each day that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another day ever to be born, as fragrantly unfettered. And then feel the pain of veritably snatching death, anytime, anywhere, wonderfully equivalent to the chapter of royally burgeoning life. And lead each day that you encountered in your life in such a way as if there wasn't going to be another day ever to be born, as fragrantly unfettered. And then feel the pain of veritably snatching death, anytime, anywhere, wonderfully equivalent to the chapter of royally burgeoning life. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall now give you a recitation of my poem titled Life is a Dedication from this book of mine. So here is the recitation of my poem. A dedication to all benign goodness in the atmosphere, the wave of philanthropic altruism which bonds one and all, the wave of philanthropic altruism which bonds one and all in the fabric of eternal mankind. A dedication to the unflinching spirit of timeless existence, the most astounding chapter of divinely proliferation, which perennially ensured that the world never came to a veritable standstill. A dedication to the rhapsodically cascading rivulets of water, miraculously placating even the most traumatically agonizing and brutally scorched throats. A dedication to the panoramically crimson clouds and fathomless sky, sensuously embellishing the carpet of the majestically enchanting night. A dedication to the infernos of irrefutably sparkling honesty, which metamorphose even the most hideously diabolical into the mists of perpetually sacrosanct righteousness. A dedication to the omnipotent light, a dedication to the omnipotent light of the fantastically blazing sun, which enlightened even the most sordidly beleaguered quarters of this earth with the light of triumphantly blissful happiness. A dedication to the inscrutably mesmerizing forests, which stupendously enthrall till beyond the realms of infinite infinity, unveiling into an entrenchment of bountiful beauty and grace. A dedication to harmoniously sacred marriage, which unassailably bonds two lovers in rainbows of compassionate sharing, and for infinite more births yet to unleash. A dedication to the celestial melody in the ebulliently rejuvenating air, which works as an omniscient panacea for even the most insidiously lugubrious disease, sauntering and alive. A dedication to the mischievously amiable smile of the child, which magically transformed even the most diabolically marauding into a land of ingratiatingly beautiful paradise. A dedication to the unfettered love of the poignantly divine mother, which was the most omnipresent exemplification of affably gratifying love and togetherness. A dedication to the timelessly tantalizing night, which splendidly ignited unfathomable maelstroms of ecstatic yearning, even in the most dolorously decaying entities alive. A dedication to the magnificently perpetual vivacity of the boundless universe, which spawned into omnipotently new life every unfurling second of the day and night. A dedication to the irrefutably resolute tenacity of all those disastrously maimed and still alive, bouncing in the full and profound euphoria of magnanimously scintillating life. A dedication to the ideals of glorious selflessness, the ecumenically resplendent essence of one God, the ecumenically resplendent essence of one God, essence of one God and an unconquerably one humanity. A dedication to the threads of invincible friendship, which intrepidly confronts even the most acrimoniously ghastly impediments with an exuberantly jubilant smile. A dedication to the ubiquitously uniting and priceless breath, which regally blessed upon every organism, irrespective of caste, creed, or religion, the right to be symbiotically surviving and holistically alive. A dedication to the immortally impregnable beats of the heart, which coalesced you forever and ever and ever with the most bountifully cherishable love of your life. A dedication to all those whom you are wonderfully acquainted with, to all those who were quintessential in inspiring you to surge forward victoriously in vibrant life. Oh yes, life is marvelously endowing paradise of friendship, beauty, and heavenly bonding. Life is the most unfathomably precious gift from the Almighty Lord. Life is a sacred dedication. Oh yes, life is marvelously endowing paradise of friendship, beauty, and heavenly bonding. Life is the most unfathomably precious gift from the Almighty Lord. Life is the most unfathomably precious gift from the Almighty Lord. Life is a sacred dedication. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall now give you a recitation of my poem titled Death, the Greatest Equalizer. So here it is, a recitation of this poem of mine. Death was the greatest pacifier, after which every thwarted desire of the physical form wonderfully evaporated and became a mist of celestially everlasting solitude. Death was the greatest purifier, after which even the most evanescent ounce of the inevitably sinful body wholesomely dissolved to perennially blend with the holy natural soil and atmosphere. Death was the greatest fantasizer, after which each impoverished element of the soul unabashedly fantasized in an infinite directions, without the tiniest of tensions or frustrations of manipulatively castrated life. Death was the greatest immortalizer, after which every good and Samaritan deed of living being was idolized and gave strength to existing man to conquer all evil till times immemorial. Death was the greatest synthesizer, after which even the most ethereal trace of ghoulish imbalance in the body settled and whispered in exuberant unison towards every new phase of captivating dawn. Death was the greatest symbolizer, after which each entity became an institution in its very own self. For whatever good or bad it had achieved. In the tenure of its otherwise unendingly aspiring life. Death was the greatest realizer, after which man was able to holistically imbibe his true identity on planet Earth, as he unavoidably crumbled like a fence of matchsticks in front of the omnipotent Almighty Lord. Death was the greatest neutralizer, after which even the most invisible insinuation of positivity and negativity was made articulately same on the plane of sheer and vapid nothingness. Death was the greatest rationalizer, paving open the way to the miraculously uniting chapters of bountiful life and extinction, being the most impregnable focal point upon which the universe rotated. Death was the greatest nullifier, bringing living kind to absolute ground zero, after it had achieved the most inimitable of heights, thereby once again inspiring a whole new chapter of rejuvenating existence. Death was the greatest fortifier, royally melanging every amiable spirit on this earth into one unassailably epitomizing wall of silence, which not even the fiercest of wars fought on globe could ever pervade. Death was the greatest womanizer, after which the haplessly divested spirit of worldly life easily entered and left the most beautiful maidens upon this earth without causing the slightest of stir or perceivable scratch. Death was the greatest desensitizer, after which even the most hideously uncouth bombarding to the physical form, the most inexplicable agony to the heart, seemed like a paradise of poignantly virgin roses. Death was the greatest socializer, after which endless communities after communities, the greatest of friends and foes, all assembled together to unanimously, all assembled together to unanimously pray for the peaceful liberation of the soul. Death was the greatest randomizer, eccentrically selecting a living organism of any shape, size, color, status, age, any time, in its completely and irrefutably unchallengeable swirl. Death was the greatest energizer, suddenly granting those wings of uninhibitedness to the deliriously incarcerated soul, to ebulliently circle round the planet a countless number of times. Death was the greatest sermonizer, automatically inculcating a boundless values and significance about the chapters of priceless breadth and existence, as it timelessly stared down every eyeball, be it newborn or staggeringly old. Death was the greatest revitalizer, after which the trajectory of enamoring earth witnessed life in its most pristinely effulgent form once again, as the indefatigable imprints of the omnipresent Lord blossomed in some or the other form of life, once again, and death was, is, and shall ever remain as the greatest equalizer, after which the richest and the poorest, the tallest and the shortest, the brightest and the darkest, the strongest and the weakest, the blessed and the maimed, the sighted and the sightless, every single organism of God created with breath on this ever-pervading planet, at last found their true identity as united and one beneath the deserted and lackluster patch of graveyard soil. And death was, is, and shall ever remain as the greatest equalizer, after which the richest and the poorest, the tallest and the shortest, the brightest and the darkest, the strongest and the weakest, the blessed and the maimed, the sighted and the sightless, every single organism of God created, with breath on this ever-pervading planet, at last found their true identity as united and one beneath the deserted and lackluster patch of graveyard soil. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall now give you a recitation of my poem titled With Great Power. So here is a recitation of my poem from this book of mine. With great joy comes the great spirit of uninhibited sharing. With great strength comes the great virtue of fighting the treacherously evil. With great height comes the great deed of escalating traumatized mankind to the ultimate summit. With great speed comes the great act of carrying the profoundly maimed. With great sight comes the great perception of becoming the eyes in perilously sinister darkness. With great voice comes the great feeling of speaking for the irrevocably dumb. With great complexion comes the great fortitude of harboring the hideously distorted. With great destiny comes the great character to profusely illuminate the lives of helpless orphans. With great heart comes the great passion of bonding immortal souls separated by the lecherously satanic society. With great wealth comes the great act of donating philanthropically to God's suffering living kind. With great wealth comes the great act of donating philanthropically to God's suffering living kind. With great knowledge comes the great justice of disseminating it sagaciously amongst brutally deprived personalities. With great fragrance comes the great chivalry of diffusing it to all those corners, pathetically dwindling towards obnoxious extinction. With great enthusiasm comes the great ardor to impregnate the same in those mourning towards clouds of desperation. With great innocence comes the great inspiration of metamorphosing this manipulative planet into an immaculate child. With great breath comes the great vitality to instill life in despondently solitary entities slithering towards their graves. With great artistry comes the great essence. With great artistry comes the great essence of propagating mesmerizing beauty. Of propagating mesmerizing beauty on this globe to people thoroughly oblivious about chapters of mystical existence. With great brain comes the great idea of making the fathomless universe a better place to live in. With great brain comes the great idea of making the fathomless universe a better place to live in. With great fire comes the great ability to wholesomely devour the devil. Comes the great ability to wholesomely devour the devil in the swirl of omnipotently golden flames. In the swirl of omnipotently golden flames. And with great power comes the great responsibility of keeping the Almighty Lord's planet just the way it was when He had marvelously evolved and perpetually created it. And with great power comes the great responsibility of keeping the Almighty Lord's planet just the way it was. Of keeping the Almighty Lord's planet just the way it was when He had marvelously evolved and perpetually created it. Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, fellow humans, compatriots from across the planet, it truly was my privilege to have given a recitation of this poetry of mine to your exuberantly impeccable jurisdiction. At any stage of mesmerizing existence, you can of course purchase this book of mine from Amazon.com. From the innermost realm of my soul, I wanted to express my gratitude to you for having patronized my poetry. Thank you for listening to me.